Alright, for this part of the build, you're going to need your hinge, the left and right side, and the lid. Okay. First thing, mend these together using the rivet like I showed you before. Incidentally, you can use M3s. I provided nut holes on the bottom just in case you want to use M3s for this. You cannot use M3s on these because it will not lay flat. Okay, I'll get into that a little bit here. So what we're going to have to do is first develop a PLA spike that goes through here. Just like that. And really, you don't need to rivet it too much, but if you wanted to, you could rivet it. I'm going to rivet mine. So I'm just going to cut that a little shorter. And then hit it with a soldering iron. Just like that. And if you want it to cool really fast, you just take your big block of awesomeness here, the cold steel, and touch it. There we go. We got a lid. Cool. Now we have to take some time to work out how big the spikes are for these. So what you do, here's how the modules work. First you print a base, then you print the holder, and then you take the holder and glue it to the base. You can do that, or you can tack it using a soldering iron at the very bottom so it melts the ABS together. That's what I did here. So there's no glue on this one. It's just tacked here, 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 and here. So that's what that one looks like. Same with the breadboard. The breadboard's a little different. I did use glue for that one. Okay. So there's a real thin one glued to this one. And then put your breadboard into place. So what I mean by develop a PLA spike that's short enough, it's much easier to do this now before you mount the lid. So you go like that. Then you find yourself a piece of PLA. Just like that. And you say, well, right about here is where I want the little tack. Perfect. Then I sharpen mine, so it's just a little easier to push that in. And then I'll just rivet it. There we go. We have a PLA spike that fits exactly right there. And I leave it hang out just about 1/4 of an inch, so it's much easier to grab, just in case I want to remove that. So I'll repeat the process for all 4 of these spikes, and then after which I'll move on to the next part of the video. Alright, now that the modules are mounted, the next part's pretty freaking simple, but just in case, you know, I just put these into position, and then I develop PLA spikes for those. And I went ahead and did 2 of them already for the back. The one in the front's a little bit more special. It has to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to take a nice straight one And I want straighter than that. Some of these turn out straighter than most. If you get them too long, like if you go getting greedy when you're making your PLA spikes and try to make really, really long ones to get it out of the way, sometimes you don't get them as straight as needed. Again, sharpen those, makes it a lot easier. And if you can't push it through, you know, that's probably it might be a printing error. And what I usually do for that is I have this nifty little thing that I kind of cobbled together from Thingiverse. It is a drill bit that is just perfect for this. I do not know the size of this said drill bit, but I will say it's not metric, but yet it fits the M3 very well. There we go, perfect. And I don't have my digital calibers on me right now. Okay. So now I have that longer spike that goes in there. That will make it so I can lock down that hood. Perfect, except for dropping my stuff. And last but not least, I think this one will fit this side. Good. Now I have everything in place. Everything's nailed down. Now I want to go take these modules off and mount the top to the bottom. Okay, until you start pulling these in and out enough times, they are pretty tight. So, just gonna go like that. There we go. I'll put these to the side because I don't want to lose them. And now I can take those modules off. Put those over to the side. Pull that spike out so I can get this one off all the way. Okay, now we have the top and the bottom to deal with, which is pretty simple, but it does take a little bit of time. So first off, snap the top and bottom together until you cannot push anymore. Just like that. Wow, fits pretty good for that one. Boom, boom, good. And then get some really long PLA ones, and now you're going to just take a long time to seal this off. Again, you can use M3 screws. I provided nut holes right there in case you want to do that. Careful though, remember if you have this as a media player underneath your TV, you don't want to scratch the ever-living crap out of your entertainment center. These do not scratch anything. Now if you want this to look good, I put the rivet that I made on the top like that. That one always comes out really clean. This one doesn't turn out as clean, so I want to put that one on the bottom. Okay, I just provide pressure on the one side and as much pressure as I can and let it melt. Hold it for a few seconds before you let go. And if you want to cool it really quick, you can use a steel block. Just like that. Also, I found a good way to cool these really quick. If you take duster, you know, that canned duster spray, and tip it upside down, you can hit it real quick and it just instantly hardens these because you're spraying CO2 at it. Alright, well, that's pretty much it. I mean, other than watching me put the rest of these spikes into place. The rest of the build is really easy. It just takes a little bit of time. So maybe I'll just end cap a video here in a second, but for right now I'm just putting in spikes. Alright, now that we are done building, let's see what we can do with it. So here's a shield from Adafruit that can be incorporated into the mix. Okay, I could put a little breadboard here if I wanted to, seal it up, be good to go. Later on, I might get bigger experiments. In that case, you could choose to print off your modules, like the breadboard module. You don't need it right away, but it's nice to have. You set that down in there, lock it into place. There we go. Once that's locked into place, you now have the ability to experiment further. So you could go this route. Let's say I wanted to use the breadboard. Well, Adafruit has this cool little cobbler, it's called, and it can go down in there on the pins. And then I twist it once, twist it twice, and put it on my breadboard. Just like that. And then this can shut, and I could lock that into position if I wanted to. Just going like that. So now that folds under there, and I have complete access to it, and it's still sturdy. Okay. Okay. Next, what I can do, I could use the other one. This one's a little bit longer though, so you know it's good for the design, but it's a little awkward. This one I would have to keep twisted a couple times, and it still works. I like the other one a little bit better. That's just my personal preference though. This one's really good for those really long breadboards. Okay, sweet. There's actually 5 volts coming off of the breadboard itself, or the Raspberry Pi itself in the front here. You can use that to power the Arduino if you wanted to, but I would highly suggest you get a very good power supply. One comes with it, it's 1 amp. Now, again, personal preference. I like using a powered USB hub, and I found a couple of these. This one right here is running off 0.6 amps, so it's good enough for this, but I would suggest 1 amp or 0.1 amp. And let me, yeah, 1 amp. Cool. So this could hold all your other stuff, because once you get into Raspberry Pi, what happens is you're going to want Wi-Fi, you're going to want Bluetooth, you're going to want, you want to hook your toaster to it. That's how it goes. And then when you get bored with it, then you start getting into the electronic part of it, and then a whole new world opens up. You get bored with it again, and then you can start working with the Arduino unit. And you have that now. So that's the order of things that I've noticed, but everybody's different. So I hope you enjoy your new Raspberry Pi Command Center. It's been fun to make. I've learned a lot from this design. You know, now I can incorporate a few of these new tricks into other builds. But for right now, I have this thing that kind of looks like something that would come off Halo. Looks like a flagship, right? And sturdy. Kid-proof. Except for the little card. I was going to put like something over the little card, but I figured, nah. We'll let it go. See what happens. Well, I hope you enjoy. Until next design.